need food for a few hours, we'll be here for a long time. I've got lots to say. No, I'm just kidding. But I get excited, and I've got a number of things that I wanted to share with you. So let's get going. I'm going to talk fast on some of it, but because it's being recorded, you can always have a look at some of the information later, or by all means, get in touch with me. I'll leave my email at the end, and I'd be really happy if you drop me a line and I could answer any questions you have if we didn't get to answer them tonight. So let's get going. Oh my gosh, I can't. It's not moving, Francisca.
Oh no.
It worked before.
Can you see your screen, Betty? Or what about using the arrow keys on your keyboard?
That's what I'm doing, and it's not. That's what worked before?
Yeah. There we go. We might have to do it that way.
So my company is Northern Vigor Berries. My dad decided that we were north on the continent, so we would call it Northern, and the berries, the sea buckthorn, is very vigorous, so he used vigor. And when I went to design products and make products, what seemed appropriate for all of them is the invigorating way you felt when you ate or used any of them. So that is why the brand name Invigorate goes with all of our products. So our tagline is promoting healthy lifestyles with the best of nature. What I will cover, you can see it'll take us into tomorrow, but I'm just kidding. But who we are as a company, what sea buckthorn looks like. If you are from Germany, you probably know already some of the history, the characteristics, the superfruit value, which is what the poster said I'd talk about. So I want to spend a good time talking about that. And if it's so good for us, some people might want to grow it. So we'll talk about propagation and purchasing some plants, and definitely some of the uses of sea buckthorn and ways that you might have seen it, recipes, and what our products are. And I thank Francisco for inviting me and for allowing me to share some of what we do. So this is rather a stuffy explanation of who we are. It's family established business with head office in Saskatoon. But our orchards are outside of a town called Verrigan, Saskatchewan. I don't know if anyone knows where it is. I can't see your faces, so I don't know if anybody's put their hands up for this, but it's an hour northeast of Yorkton. What we do is we market organic sea buckthorn berries and leaves from our orchards. We create and market value-added products such as sea buckthorn puree, tea, and gelato, and we harvest and broker berries for other growers. Who am I? Well, I started living on the farm for my youth. And when I went on to further education, I became a teacher and taught mathematics at the high school level, and then at SciEst in Saskatoon. So I taught calculus and whatever applied mathematics was needed to various trades. And here I am back at the farm again. So what does sea buckthorn look like? Well, it's not to be confused with something called buckthorn. Buckthorn is invasive, and it's kind of unusual that they have such similar names, but sea buckthorn is a totally different family, as you can see. And the biggest difference is that sea buckthorn is highly nutritious. The berries are yellow, orange, or red, and buckthorn is on the darker side, blue, black, or dark purple, and purgative, so you don't want to be eating that one. So here's some of our yellow berries, and I could spend the whole hour just showing you pictures of our berries. This is like walking into a little bit of heaven with the green and the orange. They're so gorgeous. It just takes my breath away. I hate to cut any of the branches. We had an article written about us once and called them oranges. And really, because of the high vitamin C, that was a good name for the article. A little bit of the history you might know. Legend says that sea buckthorn leaves were the preferred food of Pegasus, Greek mythology's flying horse. Ancient Greek writings indicate that the leaves were fed to their animals to produce a healthy coat. In fact, sea buckthorn's botanical name, Hippophae, literally means shiny horse. And because of the high oils, this really makes sense. Sea buckthorn would give animals and pets a really healthy coat. Genghis Khan is said to have fed berries to his army and leaves to his horses to keep both healthy and strong prior to battle. So that's why he won all the battles. Ancient Tibetan texts from as early as 600 AD talk about the herbal remedies made from sea buckthorn for skin and digestive diseases. And actually they talked about many uses for sea buckthorn in the medicinal texts. More recently, oils have been used to treat eczema, burns, and sun damage. Maybe you could put your hand up later on and tell me how many people had a salve in their home made from sea buckthorn if you were born in Germany. Russian cosmonauts used an oil-infused cream to protect from cosmic radiation. And in China, at the Seoul Olympics, they used sea buckthorn as the official drink for their athletes. The local history in Canada is much more recent. In 1930, Manitoba had their first ornamental sea buckthorn brought in by Skinner. And in the early or the mid 1900s in Saskatchewan, through the PFRA, a shelter belt program was started. It's estimated that 100 kilometers of new shelter belt is planted yearly. So this is really important for soil conservation. And one thing that was really important for Canada is that in 1990, an engineer from actually BC went to work in China and saw the extensive use they made of sea buckthorn. He saw hundreds of products made with sea buckthorn, and he came back to Canada and went to farmers in BC, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and said, I think we could grow this here. We've got a perfect climate, and he obviously said we could make lots of money from this. This fellow was going to establish a plant in Wynyard, Saskatchewan, and make juice from all the trees and the berries that were grown in the West. So my dad said, this is a great idea. I think we want to get on this ship. And so we planted a sea buckthorn orchard in 1998. So it was my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, and my two sons that planted our sea buckthorn orchard. And it was about year 3 that we had a few berries, but it wasn't until year 5 that we had actually quite a few berries. In the meantime, the poor fellow that had decided that he would use all the berries in Western Canada died of a heart attack. And so there were associations that had sprung up in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, BC, and these associations tried to sell sea buckthorn, but it was very difficult. Nobody knew what sea buckthorn was in this part of the world. And those that knew, there was a company in the United States, they could get sea buckthorn from China for pennies compared to what it cost us just in labor to get the berries off our trees. So we couldn't compete. And in 2007, my dad said, you know what? I'm plowing everything under. And I said, Dad, you know what? We put in so much work, just give me a chance and let's see if I can do anything with it. So that's where I began, and we're a few years after 2007. But the characteristics of sea buckthorn: nitrogen fixing, so very good for the soil, winter hardy, it grows in Siberia and in Canada, obviously. So it does well here because it can do well in very harsh conditions, such as today. Drought and salt tolerant. So years when other trees have not done so well in Saskatchewan, where there's been some drought, sea buckthorn has not suffered. Flowers are inconspicuous, appearing before the leaves. You know how you have cherry trees that are in full blossom and they look lovely? People say, well, have you seen the sea buckthorn bloom? I never have. I never have seen the flowers. And that's an awful thing to say, but I just haven't. They're very small. Thorny. And our trees are actually probably some of the thorniest. They're a variety called Indian summer, so the thorns can be an inch or an inch and a half long. And the berries are tight to the branch. So it's really hard to get them off because the pedicel is so small and they sucker. So you might not be a favorite with your neighbor if you decide to plant them in the city, because they sucker like raspberries. Let's talk about the superfruit value, which is what the poster mentioned, that they were very, very healthy for you. This is the first page of an article in a wonderful magazine, The Town and Country. If you want more details as to how you can get this information on this particular issue, just let me know. And I'll send you the information, but it's an interesting article. The groves of eternal youth, and if you read at the bottom, in the far reaches of the Indian Himalayas, where Dalai Lama spends his summers and where the locals appear to be ageless, a tiny orange berry has been prized for centuries as food, as elixir, as medicine. And it's a really good article. It's quite a few pages long, but sea buckthorn has been noted to contain more than 190 bioactives. That's a lot. And most people know what antioxidants are. Well, antioxidants reduce the risk of many diseases, including heart disease and certain cancers. Antioxidants scavenge free radicals from body cells and prevent or reduce damage by oxidation. And there's been an incredible amount of research around the amount of antioxidants in sea buckthorn. One particular study was looking at 28 of the medicinal plants that had highest amounts of antioxidant activity, and they found sea buckthorn to be the highest at 93.6% antioxidant activity. And so definitely exciting. This is a comparison of superfruits, and this was done at the University of Toronto. So more people have learned about acai, and definitely around here, you know about cranberry and blueberry. People have heard of goji, but not as many people locally have known about sea buckthorn. So this particular study talked about the antioxidants like phenolics and carotenoids and vitamin C. And you notice that sea buckthorn ranked A throughout compared to some of the other so-called superfruits. And the overall grade average, you see sea buckthorn was an A. And as far as dietary fiber, there the ranking was a B. And the reason the ranking was a B was that the author, when he did a study, took the seed out of the berry. And the seed actually is quite nutritious. So it's got omega-3 and omega-6 in almost a perfect 1-to-1 ratio, which is almost unheard of in nature, and vitamin E. So the seed is also good. So if you put the seed back in, I'm not a scientist, but my guess is that fiber would be a little further up there as well. But what fiber means is that you've got good gut health, and good gut health is essential for a good immune system. Over 80% of the cells which make up our immune system are in our gut. And just to talk a little bit about carotenoids specifically, I mean, they're known of having great amounts of carotenoids in carrots, for example, and everybody says they're good for eyesight, and they are. So carotenoids are good for eyesight as well as improve skin. They help prevent premature skin damage. So, and therefore skin cancer. They're beneficial for preventing UV light damage, which can lead to aged looking skin and wrinkles and drying. So we need to eat lots of sea buckthorn for the carotenoids. So some of the specifics of some of the vitamins that are in sea buckthorn. Vitamin C, here it says builds immunity against diseases and cold, helps in the growth of healthy teeth and gums, and fights scurvy. It strengthens blood vessels and capillary walls. It makes collagen and connective tissue that hold muscle and bones together, and helps the body absorb iron from food. Vitamin A sorry, let me back up for a minute, because I want to say that the vitamin C in sea buckthorn is higher than strawberry, kiwi, tomato, carrot, and hawthorn, and more than 10 times that of vitamin C in an orange. So in Turkestan, their variety is 100 times the vitamin C that is found in any fruit or vegetables. So they've got incredibly high vitamin C in Turkestan. Vitamin A is essential for good eyesight, especially for night vision. It also helps immunity and the maintenance of cells of our skin, the gastrointestinal tract, and other mucous membranes. Vitamin E, people have heard of that for growth and a healthy skin. It's an antioxidant, so it also contributes to good immunity and helping to maintain a healthy heart. The vitamin E in sea buckthorn is higher than that found in wheat embryo, safflower, maize, and soybean. Vitamin K helps blood clotting. Vitamin B1 improves nervous system, liver functions, and digestion. Vitamin B2 is for general growth, is needed to help us absorb iron from plants. Flavonoids increase immunity and lower cholesterol. And amino and organic acids help combat diseases and give strength. So at the end of this, there'll be a test, and we'll see how we pass that. No, I'm just kidding. So other nutrients, phytosterols, plant sterols, actually mimic cholesterol. So if you have a lot of plant sterols, which sea buckthorn has, particularly the beta-sitosterol, you will fool your body and therefore not take in as much other cholesterol. So we know that if we lower the bad cholesterol in our system, that that will prevent things like heart disease. So it's really good for monitoring the or for keeping a handle on the cholesterol in our system. There's 24 minerals in sea buckthorn, including things like calcium, which we're familiar with, iron, potassium. Potassium is necessary for the normal functioning of cells. It regulates the heartbeat, ensures proper function of the muscles and nerves, and is vital for synthesizing protein and metabolizing carbohydrates. A lot of people have started to take omega-3 because they've heard of the incredible benefit of omega-3. So omega-3 is believed to provide health benefits such as preventing heart disease and stroke and reducing pain and inflammation from arthritis. Omega-7, I don't think many people have heard of omega-7, and that's because not a lot of plants have omega-7. You'll find some a little bit in macadamia nuts, but sea buckthorn has a huge amount of omega-7, and omega-7 helps all mucus linings of our body. If you think of our whole intestinal system, our digestive system, it's all mucus linings. So if we could help digestion, that's a real plus. There's actually a product on the market that is just omega-7 that is for dry eyes. And if you think of your eyes, they're mucus linings as well. So that's why the omega-7 would help with dry eyes. There's a study as well, if you'd like to email me about that, with regard to women with some ovary issues. Again, there were more positive results using omega-7 than a drug that had been on the market for their particular issues. So lots of benefit from omega-7 in sea buckthorn, and most of it is found in the pulp of the berry. We had to show Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz talked about sea buckthorn. This is the way back in 2011, and he called it the new miracle berry. And I'm not sure, I didn't write this, but it says that he recommends sea buckthorn for weight loss and dieting. I have to be careful about saying something that he recommended it, but he did show the study that showed two mice that were fed the same diet. They were both fed very high fat diets, except the one had omega-7 from sea buckthorn. So it's really interesting that the one did not gain weight. So this is some information from Dr. Lee, Dr. Beveridge, both Canadians, and Uma in 2003, and they talk about sea buckthorn being anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, offering pain relief, promoting tissue regeneration, boosting the immune system, and protecting against cancer and cardiovascular disease. If you want really a lot of information about the studies that they looked at, they're both Thomas Lee and Thomas Beveridge wrote a book that is excellent on the different diseases that have been, well, I can't say healed, but in other parts of the world, they can say healed, but just not in Canada. You can't say healed because we don't have all the clinical trials in our country. But in other parts of the world, they've healed all kinds of different conditions. So Thomas Lee and Thomas Beveridge go through lots of these. What's often not so well known is the, is the leaves. The leaves are very high in antioxidants. The ones grown in Canada show that they're higher levels than oregano by a third, 4.5 times that of hibiscus, and 18 times the level of green tea. The tea is amazing. In India, they did studies that showed the leaves reduced environmental stress levels and recovery rate for soldiers working at high altitudes and low temperatures. And the leaves have been shown to be antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and antibacterial. There was a scientist, Dr. Ludmila, from Russia, that created a drug, and I say that in quotation marks, because all it is the leaves of sea buckthorn that were encapsulated and put to use in hospitals for patients that were recovering from surgery. Hipporamin is how you have, it's my closest pronunciation on it. I apologize. But it's very interesting. And that's where a lot of the research was done on the antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and antibacterial properties were done. And the leaves are an excellent source of complete protein, 18%, serotonin, plant sterols, fiber, and vitamin E. So again, we talked about the benefits of vitamin E and plant sterols. Okay, so if it's so great, maybe somebody wants to plant it. So there's different ways to plant. You can plant by seed, softwood cuttings, hardwood cuttings, suckers, and tissue culture. So seeds you soak in water for 48 hours. You stir 6 to 8 times a day and replace the water several times so you don't get any stagnation. And you sterilize in a solution of 1 part bleach and 9 parts water for 5 minutes prior to seeding. And you plant indoors in January or February in a vermiculite peat moss mixture. Hardwood cuttings, sorry, I should back up to the seeds. The seeds, it's like having children. When you have children, they don't necessarily look like mom or dad. They're going to look like maybe somebody from many years back, maybe thousands of years back. They're going to look like somebody from way back then. You don't know what your child will look like. And it's the same thing with seeds. You don't know what your plant will look like. You don't know which are male, you don't know which are female. It may take more characteristics of the dad and, and less of the mom and that kind of thing. So that is a problem with doing seeds. So you might plant an orchard that is 90% male, and the male do not produce berries. They're great for leaves, but they don't produce berries. So hardwood cuttings, on the other hand, you'll get exactly the same as the plant that you're starting with. So genetically uniform plants, you do the cuttings before bud break, and 1-year shoots cut into 15-centimeter lengths. The males, you remove all except the top 2 buds, and the female, so you leave all the buds. You dip in a hormone, and there it gives you the median you use, and you want to mist. This is going to be hard unless you have a mechanized system to mist that often. But softwood cuttings, you do late June to mid-July, and you cut to 10 to 15 centimeters, and you remove the lower leaves so as not to contact with the rooting medium. And again, you use the rooting hormone. Make sure at least 2 leaf nodes are below the surface of the rooting medium. And again, you want to mist. Suckers, I'm not sure if people from Melville are on this presentation, but I know they had good success with suckers. But in general, suckers have poor root mass and may be susceptible to transplant shock. But again, they're identical to the parents. So that's the good thing. And yeah, so you'll get something identical. Tissue culture is not well developed for sea buckthorn at this time, but you can produce a lot of plants in a quick period of time. So if you're a scientist, now is the time to work on something like that, because no one in the world has developed a really good system for tissue cultures for sea buckthorn. Plant 5 to 8 centimeters deep, preferably in sandy loam, not in low spots. Just like other fruit trees, they don't like wet feet, and you'll find your plants will die if they've got too much moisture at the roots. Recommended 1 meter in between the row between the plants and 4 meters between the rows. We put more than 4 meters. The big thing is you want your equipment to be able to get through between the rows. And your ratio of male to female is 1 to 8. So you just need 1 male for every 8 females. Since you're probably mostly wanting fruit, you're just wanting berries. This is the orchard planting scheme provided by Natalia Demidova from Russia. And you see how few males are in that field. And that's adequate. There's enough that all the females will be pollinated. Natalia is on the right, and the lady that invented or came up with the Hipparman from Russia is on the left, Dr. Ludmila. This is an orchard in Saskatchewan where the person or the people did not know that you needed some males for pollinating and planted all females. And one year they looked off out of their window and they saw all this orange and couldn't believe it, because they actually in years later learned that they should have had some males. But apparently the wind that year from a neighboring orchard carried enough pollination that that particular orchard got pollinated. So that year they had a lot of berries, but it all depended on how the wind blew. There's been a lot of research in getting good varieties for Canada, and Dr. Raju, and he said I could use his first name, and Bill Schroeder from the PFRA originally, and now Dr. Raju at the Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, focused on breeding and evaluating new sea buckthorn cultivars. So these are some of the newer cultivars: Harvest Moon, Orange September, Autumn Glow, Prairie Sunset, and Schroeder Bounty. These were some that were introduced in 2005, and you notice that what they were looking for were fewer thorns and a longer stem, a longer pedicel length, so that you could more easily get them off the branch. Every year we have sea buckthorn days, other than last year, because of the events of last year. But Dr. Raju presented many different cultivars here where people could taste them, and that was greatly appreciated. But so there's different tests on which cultivars have the greatest amount of different constituents. This shows Indian Summer, which is what we have, which has a very high level of quercetin, which is a great flavonoid to have. But again, new cultivars like Autumn Glow have camphorol, which is at a higher level. So it's like oranges. When you go to buy oranges, they don't all taste the same. So variety makes a great bit of difference. And some have more of one aspect, and some of another aspect. So again, you look at C, when we talk about vitamin C and sea buckthorn, it's very high, but it depends on variety. It can be extremely high, not just very high. So again, vitamin E, very, very high in Indian summer. Indian summer is so thorny and difficult to grow, but it's definitely got its benefits. And again, this compares some of the Russian varieties as well. So you've got Vitamina and anyway, so this, so at the PFRA, they were trying to get berries that were heavier in weight when they were coming out with new cultivars for people to plant. And here, this sort of shows how the Harvest Moon, for example, is harvested early August, whereas some of the other ones are mid-August. Indian summer, we start at the end of August. So if you want to spread out your harvesting time, then you would just grow a number of different cultivars. So if you want to purchase plants, these are some that are available at a seedling in Saskatoon, a nursery in Saskatoon. These newer released variety is available in Chilliwack, BC. So how do we harvest with all the thorns? Well, these are my gloves after a very short period of time getting leaves for tea leaves. So they last, gosh, no more than maybe 4 days. That might be generous, but we once tried to harvest in the winter. It's very easy to knock the berries off the branch. You can see this is at minus, I think it was minus 40. And we had some helpers, but what we found is by the time they actually freeze on the branch, unlike something like buffalo berry, which is native to Saskatchewan, they're already past the ripe stage, especially cultivars like your Harvest Moon. It would be well past the ripe stage. So you've got sort of a bit of fermentation going on. So we harvested, but there was nothing we could find that we could use the berries for. So we don't harvest in the winter anymore, although it was easy. This is berries just getting ready, just getting to, you can see them turning a little orange. And these are my best harvesters that we've got, Rick and Greg. And you can see that it doesn't matter how hot it is, you have to dress properly. You have to have a lot of attire. You have to have really good gloves and really good cutters that'll keep you at a distance from the plants, and you see glasses and everything. So on a hot day, it's really tough cutting, but these are amazing workers. And there I've got tubs of berries going to go into a reefer truck, and we freeze them at minus 20 Fahrenheit, so minus 30 Celsius, and depending on how full we pack the truck, they'll freeze in 1 to 2 days, and then we can knock the branches and the berries will come off, because to actually pick them, it's too difficult, too thorny. But this is what they look like when we knock them off the branch in the freezer. So there's a lot of cleaning that has to go on from there. So where is sea buckthorn used? I mean, we talked about the enormous health benefit. So obviously they're going to be in cosmeceuticals and pharmaceuticals, but definitely in a lot of foods. So those from Germany know you've used them in a lot of recipes, which is exciting. As far as cosmeceuticals, they're used in skin creams. High levels of vitamin E make the skin creams just amazing for skin. in lip balms and salves. I was told that a lot of households in Germany had a salve made from sea buckthorn. So you'll have to tell me if that's true. So herbs and pharmaceuticals around the world, it's been used to treat all kinds of things. And I'll just talk about one of them. Ulcers is a really big thing. And people with horses know of the great value in helping to prevent ulcers and to help their horses. So this has been an age-old secret, how to help horses with their ulcers. But all kinds of things. So in the food industry, again, you've got just lots of possibilities. And those were the berries. These are the leaves. Again, we can't forget about the leaves. And they have a smooth, mild flavor, they're caffeine free. So as far as the leaves go, when you're making a tea, it's great for all ages. Children love the tea. And locally, when moms have a household that seem to be getting colds, I tell them to brew a pot of tea and drink that over the course of the day. And moms come back with amazing stories as to how quickly the children get better and the household gets better with the sea buckthorn tea. I actually do it when I put in really long hours. I make sure I drink tea. It really helps the immune system. This is out of the Department of Defense in India, where it shows where they use sea buckthorn, but I just wanted to show the tea. The herbal tea powder, it says, has been developed using sea buckthorn leaves as the major ingredient, and it talks about the high quantities of polyphenols, which detoxify the free radical activity. So they not only put it in tea, but baking for their army. So you've got biscuits and cakes and all kinds of things with the tea leaves. I went to Germany in 2010, so that was a while ago, to a national sea buckthorn conference. And this was the delegation from people came from 14 different countries, so all over the world. But visiting stores and at the show, we saw things that you might recognize. So we saw cocktails and nectars and here we have a vodka, which locally here, a fellow took his vodka and he infused it with sea buckthorn. And my gosh, it tasted like juice. So rather dangerous. Weleda, everyone's familiar with that one as far as a skincare line. And jams and jellies and syrups. And again, they have the sea buckthorn tea leaves as well. And this was the Canadian delegation. So some delicious sea buckthorn ideas. Smoothies, those are easy things to do in the morning. However you make your smoothie, you can put the berries in your porridge, in yogurt. Those are very easy to do. This is actually a recipe that's sort of a treat. And Francisca has some recipes on her YouTube channel. So she's got a berry punch. So you can watch her YouTube channel. It's excellent. It shows you how to do it. She's got also and I don't know how to pronounce it, I apologize, but looks delicious. This is also a berry layered mousse. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Again, please head to Francisco's YouTube channel for that one. Rosa, I don't know if she has been part of this group, but I met her at the farmer's market when I was selling product, and she would buy the puree. So she made a Sandorn tort. So it's just gorgeous. So I'm just going to show you some ideas from other chefs. This is sea buckthorn and white chocolate scones with sea buckthorn jelly. And recipes for these items, a lot of them are on my new website, which will be up any day. I thought it would be up Friday, but it's not, but it will be up any day. Sea buckthorn granola. Ricotta, oops, I messed that one up. But yeah, so this is crepes with sweet and savory pickled sea buckthorn. Does not look delicious, and especially at supper time, we're viewing this. At Sea Buckthorn Days, we not only have speakers, but we have chefs having a competition, and so they do amazing products. Amazing dishes. This is a wonderful one from Chef Darren Craddock, who is at the Village now. And here is one from Chef Jenny. She did a lasagna. She uses the sea buckthorn for the sauce. Again, one from Darren Craddock. He did pan roasted chicken. So you can make a sauce with so many different meats. This was an appetizer by executive chef Scott Torgerson. He's at the Saskatoon Marriott downtown, but he did a shrimp with sea buckthorn. Here's one of the local restaurants, Lada's Cafe here in Saskatoon, that does a chia pudding. And again, a quencher. This was absolutely delicious, and the recipe will be online at my website. It is a sea buckthorn borscht. Oh my gosh, Chef Jenny used yellow beets, and it was delicious. Executive Sean McConnell, again at Sea Buckthorn Days, did an entree, and he is at the Riverside Country Club. These people are at the farmers market, and they did a sea buckthorn mousse. Here's Chef Scott Torgerson actually doing a chicken breast, and he won the People's Choice Award at Sea Buckthorn Days. So that was so delicious. If you haven't eaten supper, I'm sure you're getting very hungry. This is dessert, everybody. It's absolutely delicious. Chef Heather Becker Schulte is the owner of Chef de Partie Tasting and Catering in Saskatoon. So she does all of that in her little shop. We also did a pop-up kitchen at Sea Buckthorn Days, and here we serve sea buckthorn pierogies along with this is our crew. Chocolate cake, again, vinaigrettes, and leaves, I mentioned earlier, go in recipes as well. So we've got trout. Here is an appetizer with the sea buckthorn tea bread, and she used sea buckthorn jam. And Dana Schadorf is at the Saskatoon the Saskatoon Club. And Kelly Waters is the Prairie Fairy, is her business out in North Battleford, and she was at Sea Buckthorn Days, but she used a millet infused with sea buckthorn tea with sea buckthorn syrup. So at Sea Buckthorn Days, we have a number of people that actually do workshops and presentations. So we have Dr. Raju at the bottom left. On the right bottom, we have Forrest Sharp, who is the provincial specialist with fruit crops. Top right corner, Paulette Millis. She talked about healing depression because it's a fundraiser for Canadian mental health. So the chefs do all their cooking for free, and these presenters also contribute great time and effort into doing great presentations at Sea Buckthorn Days. We have Sarah Mills. People might be familiar with her. She's written a number of books on what to grow in Saskatchewan. And she wrote a chapter in the latest book with Bob Bors on sea buckthorn was her chapter. Last but not least, left corner is our Connie Keller. She is the executive director of HSSA, Herb, Spice, and Specialty Ag in Saskatchewan. And she delivers a course in good agriculture and collection practices, which is she helps producers with making sure that products get to you in a safe way. So what products do we offer? We have berries, of course, and they come in various sizes. We're certified organic through EcoCert. So if you want larger cases, there's 10 kilogram and 20 kilo cases. And once you want something beyond berries, what we do need to do is some processing. This is what's called a pulper finisher. I'm here at Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, where I'm going to make some juice from the berries. I just love this machine because it's so easy. You put the berries in one end and down comes the juice, and the seed and the skin go in the other bucket. You can see what that looks like. But beautiful juice. This juice I call puree, and I sell that in tubs in a frozen state. If you freeze it, it's going to keep for much longer. The shelf life would be much greater. And when you go to use it, if you thawed and just take and put it in ice cube trays, you'll get something that I also sell, smoothie pops. Smoothie pops, just one in your smoothie is all you need, or half if you're doing a small smoothie, and that offers you a lot of vitamin C and all the other things we talked about in one day. Just to let you know, with regard to even just the berries, if you took a third of a cup of just the berries so that you could use the seeds as well, you would get 125% of your daily recommended amount of vitamin C. So yes, but some people don't prefer the seed, so these smoothie pops are great. And the puree in a freeze-dried state as well preserves the nutritional value of sea buckthorn. So you just use maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon in your drink, and you're getting the benefits of sea buckthorn. And with the puree, we also do juices. We add a little bit of lemon and honey, and it's delicious. So we call that sea buckthorn splash. We do apple cider and sea buckthorn vinegar. So 2 parts oil and 1 part vinegar on greens or a Greek salad is absolutely amazing. Or you can splash a little on fish. But all it has is the apple cider vinegar and sea buckthorn puree and sea buckthorn berries. So it's very pure. Sea buckthorn spread, again, certified organic. So you've got organic sea buckthorn berries. You've got the pectin, and organic cane sugar is what goes into that. So you can put this on crackers with goat cheese and a little of that. Oh, that's good. or you can use it as a glaze on chicken, or it doesn't necessarily have to just be jam on toast, but that's awesome as well. That's what these girls say. Sea buckthorn syrup, again, organic cane sugar with the berries, and it's limitless what you can do with the syrup. One of the ladies in town does a, it slipped my, I was going to, a soy sauce actually with that. And the tea comes in leaves or in a tea ball like that. And I actually could do with some tea because I've talked and I'm getting a little hoarse. Iced tea has a little bit of lemon and honey. And this lady likes both the iced tea and the splash. I think he's happy he's getting fruit leathers. So just fruit, that's all there is in this. It's got apple, sea buckthorn, and strawberries, organic strawberries or the organic sea buckthorn in that. And of course we had to do chocolate. So it's a dark Belgian chocolate with a sea buckthorn cream filling. And decadent, yes. We do ostentatious orange gelato. That's been a hit. This is Dapper Dan. That's how our tubs come, or it comes on a stick. Well, these girls at the, this is actually at the Sassamate store, Olivia and Ella, love the gelato on a stick. I have so many kids. Sorbet, for those people that can't handle milk because of digestive issues, the sorbet has no milk. So where can you find it on the menu today? So you can find it in many places in Saskatoon, Calgary, and I've just listed some local, but of course it's also found on the menu in Vancouver, in California. But those are some restaurants that have it here. And where can you buy it? Again, I've listed some of the local places where the sea buckthorn these are where our products can be purchased. So I want to thank so much Franziska for inviting me to speak today. It's been a great pleasure. And I'm sorry I can't see your faces right now, but I will shortly. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak. And I'd like to just open it up right now to questions. And are there any experiences with sea buckthorn that you'd like to share? And this is my contact information if you'd like to get a hold of me. That's hopefully my new website will be up soon, but that's my email and my phone number.
Good. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Betty. That was very informative. I have to admit, from my German background, I only ever knew it in creams and salves. And then once I started talking to you, I had to go out right away and buy some of your products to do my recipes. And that was my first taste, and I was pleasantly surprised. So my recipes turned out really good, and that's from a good product to start with. So good. There were already a few questions while you were chatting away about, let's see here. From Carol, we have regarding nutrient list and function. Is this from the perspective of the fresh berry? And does the processed product compare to the same function list as well?
It depends on what product you're speaking of. So for example, if you're talking about the puree or the smoothie pops, that would essentially be identical to the berry because it's a cold process. All you're doing is really pressing the berry. Freeze drying, you're preserving a lot of the nutritional value, and that's why you're freeze drying. When you get into things like, and again, like the apple cider and sea buckthorn vinegar, it's raw, so it's the same as eating the berry. And the reason, actually, can I answer it a little bit longer? I just wanted to talk about the vinegar for a minute because
Oh,
I mentioned it was raw, but the reason that combination is so good is that apple cider vinegar has the mother that helps digestion, and then omega-7 has from sea buckthorn helps digestion. That's why they're a good combo. But anyway, you're getting full nutrition there. When you get into processing like jam and syrup, you're heating. So that will diminish the amount of vitamin C, but you will still get some vitamin C, but not as much. And as far as the oils are not affected. So you still will get a large amount of the oil, as sea buckthorn has a large amount of oil. And that's one of the reasons actually the spread and the syrup will separate because of the high amount of oil. So sometimes you'll see a separation. I try to make it so it doesn't, but you can't help. And it's a good thing there's oil, right? And I know in Germany, I noticed that a lot of the juice is separated, and people, I guess, were used to that because they're used to knowing that there's a lot of oil and that will happen.
good.
I went on a great long tangent. I apologize, Carol.
That's good. That means that you're very enthusiastic about what you sell. It's a good sign. I think you kind of already answered the next question, which was from Shirley. Is nutrient value decreased by heating? What percentage?
Gosh, I don't know if I can say the percentage, but definitely vitamin C is diminished, but other things in general are not. It's the vitamin C you worry about, and you can get vitamin C from other sources, but cooking will diminish that for sure.
Okay. Somebody asked when they sent me a registration email. So it does survive here in the province. Their yard gets early and late frost, and they'd also like to know what pests, if any, does it attract?
Sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Their yard gets early and late frost, but it does survive here in the province. They're in zone 3, but you have your orchard just outside of, what was it?
It's an hour northeast of Yorkton.
There we go. So it does survive here in the zone that Saskatchewan is in. But
it's actually a colder zone than Saskatoon.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because it's a little further south, but for some reason it's in a colder zone.
Okay. Would it still survive in Saskatoon though, specifically?
Actually, Saskatoon has planted their own trees.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Because I might want to do that too.
So when you, actually there's some not far from my home, but there used to be more in the boulevard across from the park town. I think they've taken some out, but there was definitely some at the university, and there's definitely some in the boulevard on the highway going towards Regina, just as you're leaving Saskatoon. So they've planted them in various places, and they're going to more and more varieties that have less thorns. But like I say, Indian summer is terrible. It's thorny, but it's still high nutrition.
Okay. And the last part of that question was, does the bush attract any pests? Or anything that you have to watch out for?
You know, we haven't been disturbed by anything. Honestly, I think there's been moose around and deer around, and we haven't noticed people with younger crops. Maybe I did hear of someone in the Saskatoon area that had a problem with deer. But once the trees are a little larger, usually it doesn't, you're not affected by those kinds of animals. But we've never had a problem, and I found deer in the orchard, but you really can't see any damage. But I do know somebody in Manitoba had a problem with bears, and that was unusual. So it's hit and miss, but most people that I know have had no issues with wildlife.
Oh, good to know. And then you had a comment here from Connie Keller. She says, great job, Betty. All products are amazing. So proud of you.
Connie is amazing. And sorry, this is my first time doing a presentation in this way, and being blind, I can't see anyone. So it's interesting, and there's so many things I wanted to say. I really would love to say how great Connie is at what she does, but I appreciate the comment.
Good. And then she also says there's some bushes planted in East Regina. So if any of you are in Regina, there's some there as well. Good. Betty, if you wanted to see, there's a few people that have their videos on. If you wanted to take your PowerPoint presentation off the main page.
Okay, I'll escape.
Good. And then just undo your sharing of the screen.
Oh, there we go. Hello.
Yes. Good.
I'm sorry, it was a little bit long.
Oh, that's okay.
I tried to talk quickly.
There's a lot of
I wanted to be thorough.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure everybody appreciates that. Are there any last minute questions for Betty while we have her here joining us? I got my product from Betty from the Saskmade Marketplace. I tried quite a variety of things, and in the gift basket that I'm going to raffle off, I bought the tea, the vinegar, the syrup, the jam, and some of the fruit leather. So that's all in the gift basket that you can win. And I have to say, I really appreciated the gelato as well. That was super tasty. Good. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, does it attract any birds? Like a lot of berries are, you know, like the birds go after them, at least in our yard. Is there any with sea buckthorn that?
Well, I'll say birds do come around, but in our orchard, because it's thorny, it's sort of a last resort. They'll go everywhere else.
Okay.
It's not very pleasant for them. So we haven't really had problems with birds. Yeah, I think there's better things that they like.
We'll go after my raspberries first before they.
They will love them.
And my other question would just quickly be, do you know of, like, are your products available in Ontario as well, or just is?
I might have not put it on the slide. Be by the Sea. Mm-hmm. I think, or did I have it on the slide? I'm not sure.
Well, there was nothing for Ontario on there.
There was nothing. Sorry. I was just going to look again. Okay, but yeah, they're Bee by the Sea, BEE by the Sea. And I've had more inquiries for companies in Ontario. And there may be products coming out there, but just not yet.
Yeah, okay. Because
that one company.
Yeah, we used to buy it. Well, we now live in Ottawa, and I used to buy it from you at the farmers market in Saskatoon. So would be nice to find a supplier here too for just like those smoothie things, something like that.
Yeah, I know they have the berries for sure.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen that. So might have to do that myself or buy the berries. Yeah.
And maybe we can ship some out there.
Well, we come to Saskatoon too every once in a while when things are normal.